The focus largely was to try and track the industrial presence or the lack of it and the reasons for it, and also perhaps extrapolate it and see what were the reasons why people perhaps are not qualified enough to get jobs there, or why industry is not decided to set up shop in the district. And that was quite apparent from the fact that there is just a single industrial unit in the entire district. It's a medium density fiber board factory that is run by the BK Birla Group. It's called Mangalam Timbers. It's been there in the district for about 30 years. Nabarangpur also marks a contrast from the industrial scene in some of the adjoining districts, like say Koraput, where you have a few big units, including some state-owned firms that have set up fairly large industrial units. By contrast, Nabarangpur was clearly a disappointment in terms of not really having any industrial presence, and the sole factory that is operating there also was struggling to maintain normal operations. For instance, the week that I was there, for a very small accident that involved a broken bearing, one of the units had to shut production for almost 5 days because the replacement had to come all the way from Calcutta. And that is primarily a result of there being absolutely no ancillary units around this functional factory that's been there for 30 years. So that was one very surprising element. Apart from the Mangalam factory, there are just a few maize processing, very small plants, and a few cashew units, something like 10 or 12 cashew units, which employ at the best 40 to 50 people, but this is also seasonal employment, so it's not around the year. First and foremost, at least from my interactions with the people who are manning the Mangalam factory, the timber factory, was that Nabarangpur is one of perhaps just a handful of districts in the country where the district headquarters is not connected by a railhead, which is a clear disincentive for perhaps a mid to large sized company to set shop, because transportation of raw material and movement of the final finished products, it's that much more easier if the district headquarters or a place otherwise is connected by a railway link. So in case of Nabarangpur, much of the transportation has to be done by road, and the time taken to get to the nearest city or a port, which is Visakhapatnam, is about 8 days, sometimes 10 days. There is also the problem of the existing road network not being good enough, and in patches being almost unmotorable, which makes transportation of goods from factory, the only factory that is there, say Mangalam, it makes it that much more difficult. So that is an inherent problem that again needs to be sorted out. So that clearly was something that was cited to me as a big disincentive, and the reason why not a single industry worth its name has followed Mangalam and set shop in Nabarangpur. Then there are the other typical issues in places like rural Orissa, that of power not being there. But I thought one problem that perhaps is endemic to some of the tribal dominated areas of states such as Orissa, like Nabarangpur, is the fact that there is a clear dearth of availability of skilled manpower. Nabarangpur clearly has just one ITI, which is in a place called Umarkot, which is about 50 kilometers from the district headquarters. The fact that most of the people who've cleared their diploma course are either unemployable or unwilling to relocate to a place where they have a job opportunity. In case of Mangalam, I did talk to the office managers there, and they were clearly of the view that the children who pass out of ITI Umarkot are perhaps not fit to be taken on board, because they would need extensive training even beyond whatever they've learned at the ITI, and the fact that their basic education was also weak, because most of the schools in the district were were not really up to the mark. So fundamental questions in terms of, say, mathematical addition or subtraction, maybe things like division, they are not able to do, even though they've managed to come out of a electromechanical course from the ITIs. Well, Nabarangpur is primarily an agrarian district. Roughly about 54% of the overall GSDP of the district comes from agriculture. Three main crops: paddy and sugarcane and maize. And most of the children who are probably in the employable age group either do some seasonal work at the fields or maybe an ancillary unit involving food processing. But that apart, most kids are sitting at home either searching for employment or trying to get an education in terms of perhaps a graduation, which they call +3 there. So there were clearly fundamental issues that were responsible for this sort of a situation. So it's actually an intersection of both of these things. The fact that you don't have skilled manpower, the children who are coming out in the skilled category or in the so-called skill category are perhaps not employable, and a whole lot of infrastructural bottlenecks converge into creating a situation where industry doesn't come forward to set up shop, and the younger generation that should be employed gainfully somewhere does not have an avenue for employment.